Since entering the corporate world after graduating from college, I found it challenging to maintain my interest in pursuing my creative hobbies. Some days I come home from work excited to discover creative ways to make art and videos, and other days the thought of finding original ideas for my hobbies feels so burdensome that I just avoid my hobbies altogether. And as you can imagine, this lack of consistency has negatively impacted the development of my creativity. It never occurred to me that there would ever be a time when I didn't have the desire to pursue my hobbies. It's as if ever since I started my 9 to 5, my aspiration to be creative just vanished. I struggled to understand why that was until I began re-examining my perspective on creativity. Creativity is one of those things that is so influential to the human experience that it's hard to imagine life without it. For instance, if you look around you, every existing object can be attributed to our God-given creativity. As a species, we use this gift of creativity to realize our ideas. I don't want to get too philosophical about it, but all of this to say, creativity is essential to human growth. But what is creativity? Is it something we are born with? Can it be learned? Is it something we can measure? These were some of the questions I asked myself as I tried to find a way to improve the products of my creativity and balance my work and my creative pursuits. As I set out to solve this issue, I began searching the internet for some answers. I came across this encyclopedia that provided some explanation for my questions. Particularly, this article helped me define creativity. This is the definition I settled on. Creativity is the authentic expression of ideas. I know this is a very broad definition, but if we take Apple for example, whenever Apple comes out with a new software update for the iPhone, they often borrow ideas from the Android. And what I find interesting about that is Apple usually build on the foundation that the Android already laid out, making the new feature that they bring into the iPhone better than what existed before it. And I think creativity falls along those lines. When it comes to filmmaking and art, we usually have to borrow ideas from creators that came before us. I think that's the essence of creativity, is mastering the skills and technique that are required to make something. And once you master those skills and technique, you can create something new. I've always believed that creativity is only related to artistic work. So whenever I was uninspired to think creatively, I did not engage in my hobbies. However, as I reflected more on this thought, it occurred to me that perhaps I am mistaken in how I view creativity. Consider this. When working with a client at work, I follow the guidelines put in place by my company to serve the client best. But there are instances when I have to work outside those guidelines to find creative solutions for the client. This goes back to my definition of creativity. It's all about understanding and using the rules to create new ways to do things. Inspiration is only a small part of it. You see, when I think about my hobbies, I used to think of the outcome. There's an excitement that comes with making your hobbies into a reality. And whenever I'm making a video or working on a piece of artwork, I used to be more concerned with how they will turn out rather than what it takes to make these things into a reality. I realize this is the reason my work-life balance suffers. I place too high of an expectation on myself with my hobbies. I always rush to finish a creative project to the point that my hobbies are no longer enjoyable. When I leave the office and come home, it feels like I'm still at work when engaging in my hobbies because of these expectations. And this habit is exacerbated by the fast-paced culture that we live in today. For these reasons, I didn't often reflect on the most important element of having a hobby. That is the creative process and effort required to make the hobby a reality. There is a lot of mental and physical work involved in making something creative. And whenever I don't feel like working on my hobbies, it's not simply because I lack the energy to do so. I suspect that on a subconscious level, my inclination to avoid my hobbies is partly due to the mental challenge of figuring out original ideas and the expectations I place on myself. Simply put, the brain is good at making up reasons to prevent us from doing difficult things. In my experience, when I don't have the skills to bring my creative vision to life, I either do a mediocre job by rushing the process or give up on it entirely. As I became conscious of this, I decided to embrace the difficult aspect of creativity, which is thinking of original ideas. I told myself that even if I don't have the energy to think creatively after work, I will take the time to write down ideas for my hobbies. The goal of this exercise was to become better at formulating new ideas. I wanted to make thinking creatively a daily routine. The first few days, it took a lot of willpower for me to take the time and think of creative ideas for my hobbies. And honestly, there were a lot of bad ideas, but some were authentic enough to be deemed creative. Day by day, I began to appreciate the process of being imaginative. First, I worked on setting realistic expectations for my hobbies. I focused on nourishing my creative skills rather than fixating on the outcome of a project. This helped me establish a better work-life balance. I had fun learning new ways to engage in my hobbies. I also came to accept that being creative is challenging, and this is what makes it special. Being able to formulate an idea and bring that idea to life is a beautiful thing. It requires patience, attention to detail, and dedication. As a result of pursuing this goal to make thinking creatively a daily habit, I saw some growth in other areas of my life. Mainly, I became patient. When I didn't have the skills or knowledge to achieve my vision, I took the time to learn the skills needed. I know it's a simple idea, but it doesn't always seem obvious that patience is necessary when you have a vision, but lack the tools or skills to bring that idea to life. By no means do I think that my artwork and videos are at their best. I still have a long way to go in my creative journey. Nevertheless, I'm happy with where I am today while I patiently work toward improving my skills. It's all about taking action day by day and enjoying the journey.